What is going on, all of you high-speed racers out there in the world? I'm Mega Am, so thank you for watching this review video, whether you are a new or returning viewer. Appreciate you stopping by. Today, of course, I am talking about Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, which just came out about a week and a half ago as of this upload, and I've had the time to try out a lot of the different modes, the characters, the tracks, stuff like that, and really definitely got my hands on with it. I haven't fully finished everything, but I felt like it was a good point to kind of talk about the game overall. And my personal thoughts on it. So I'll start off with some light to no spoilers. Not that there's a lot of spoilers with a racing game necessarily, but mainly for like characters or tracks, unlockable, stuff like that. I want to avoid specifics if you are wanting to keep those as a surprise to you, because I know some people do. And also, some certain like late game unlockables depending on how many of the modes you beat and stuff like that, because there are some of those. So just want to mention that there. But overall, my thoughts on this game are it's really, really fun. I really enjoy it a lot. This game has this core Grand Prix. It has like this like park mode, which I don't know a lot about. I've experimented with a little bit, but it seems almost like a mini game type of mode with different mini game challenges. And there's time trials as well I haven't really messed around with. And then there's the online mode, which is a whole separate thing, of course, going into, like playing with people online, participating in races. There's actually a festival going on right now for Hatsune Miku, who was the first like DLC character. It was weird because she was free at launch, but she's like the first technically guest character appearing. But they're doing a whole thing there, which is fun. And they kind of have like this battle pass. But let's focus on the single player for now. I'm going to jump into some Grand Prix here. I'm going to just disable this quickly. I don't want you seeing the list of characters here. Actually, I can pull this up, though. So you have your Grand Prix, you have your Race Park, and Time Trial. Race Park, essentially, I won't go into the footage here, so I'll just explain it. There's, like, different challenges you can do, and it's, like, usually, like, beat this team, best of 3, and you, like, do, like, perform more tricks than the other team, or collect more rings than the other team. It's similar to how the online festivals work in this game. There's different challenges you do while racing on these different tracks, which is cool. Time Trial, of course, try to get the fastest time, and then Grand Prix, which, you get a few different tracks. And the way Grand Prix work in this game, I'm going to try to avoid as much Mario Kart comparisons here as possible. I'm really going to try to, and we'll see. But it's one of those things that's like, you have 3 different tracks. Now, I'm actually going to pull this up right here so you guys can see here, because that's actually something really cool about the Grand Prix. So you have 3 different tracks, and then the final one ends with kind of like one lap being part of each track you play through up until that point, which is kind of cool. There's another cool system in this game, though. This is a new system that I haven't really seen a lot of other racing games do, which is the rival system. And I think this is actually a really cool mechanic. Essentially how this works is you can have different, when you're playing like single player, I don't know how it works in multiplayer, but at least for single player from what I know, with the Grand Prix, you'll have just like a random CPU character be your rival, and essentially they have different levels. You can see here that each flame represents a higher or lower level. If you beat them, you get like extra rewards and stuff like that. And it's cool because they have a little banter actually back and forth. A lot of the characters do, in like cutscenes in the game. So I mean, as much as Blaze is cool, Eggman's the classic rival. So we're gonna jump in here. One thing I also want to point out, the customizability in this game is really, really good. So here you have these different, they call it a plates, essentially, and you equip what I believe are called like gears or something like that. I don't even fully know. They're essentially perks, right? So for example, this one, the one I have right now, this gives me a quick charge on my level 1 charging drift. This gives me a quick charge on my level 2 drift. And then you have the air trick. This makes you just perform air tricks faster in the air when you drive. And then this prevents, because you do actually drop rings in this game when you bump into a wall. So that essentially turns that off. And you have a certain amount of slots. Once you fully get through enough of the game, it doesn't take too long. You get fully 6 slots on each plate, and you can fill them up with all sorts of different perks, depending on what you like. There's also stuff like steering assist if you need assistance with that, which is always great to have those options. But yeah, let's go over the general like racing in this game, because it is really good, honestly. It's a lot different than some of the previous Sonic racing games. It is relatively similar. It takes inspiration a lot from Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, bringing back the vehicle transformation mechanics. You also have the return of the Extreme Gear hoverboards from Sonic Riders, which is super cool. And here's the little dialogue I was talking about. This dialogue is unique depending on your character and your rival. And it's actually pretty good. I should have clarified, this is the Switch 1 version. The Switch 2 version is not available as of now. There will be an upgrade path. There's also going to be a true physical, not game key card for this. But let's actually jump into some gameplay here. The starting thing's interesting. You got to line it up in the green. And then you go from there. And it's like, it's very fast. I'm playing this on one of the faster modes, to be fair. But it is a very fast-paced game. The handling is definitely different than the previous Sonic Racing games. It takes some getting used to, I will say. It really does, but it is very fun. This is just the basic kind of stadium that you start off on. The more rings you collect, the higher top speeds you get, which is something interesting. You do a bunch of air tricks. I will say the items in this game, like here's Void, this will suck up a bunch of items around you. Items are very chaotic in this game. They really are, and honestly, I feel like this game is less skill-based than something like a Mario Kart as a result. Now, what you're seeing here is the reason why this game is called CrossWorlds. Because the second lap of every track you do, except for the final Grand Prix one, which I mentioned before, the second lap you do is essentially you cross over to another world. And whoever's in first, that was me there, I snuck up there. You get to choose where you go. So it's usually either a fixed option or like a random decision. That can be like anything. So there are a bunch of tracks that are exclusively CrossWorlds, like this one. Some Sonic fans may recognize this as Holoska, specifically the nighttime version from Sonic Unleashed. So a lot of the tracks and CrossWorlds are very heavily based on the previous Sonic games, which is great. I won't mention any other specifics here, but there's also a lot of original tracks, which is cool. Yeah, the items are very chaotic. A lot of them are similar to Mario Kart. You've got your, like, boxing glove. There's the green one that you actually can, if you line it up, like, home in on an enemy like this person is. They did a good job of doing that. And then the red one automatically homes in. But there are some brutal ones that really, honestly, I feel like sometimes get a little too chaotic. Specifically a couple that I can name off. I don't want to name specifics. I'll save that for the spoiler section. That are absolutely brutal. I feel like this is more of a party game than Mario Kart, if you can believe that. Which isn't a bad thing, you know, it's just, it's a very different vibe. So, it is not quite, I don't know, I feel like it's a little less skill-based as a result. You do collect these tickets, they're called Donpa tickets, because you have the King to Donpa, or whatever, he like runs the races. And you can use those tickets to buy more things, essentially. You can buy customizable vehicle parts, so if that's something you missed from, like, Mario Kart World, for instance, they have a whole customizable system here, which is really, really cool. It's not really my cup of tea, but they have that here. You can also use it to retry the round, which I've done, like, once or twice. If you want to, you can spend them on... There's a side mode where you can, like, feed characters tickets, and they give you, like, rewards specific to them. It's kind of weird, to be honest. It's a little side thing. You can get, like, extra, like, name tags and stickers for your customizable cars and stuff like that. This is Rainbow Garden. This is a really good original track. Honestly, one of my favorite original tracks. This is a really good one. And honestly, like, this is the Switch 1 version. I think this game runs decently. I mean, it's, like, running at a fairly consistent 30 frames. Unless there's, like, a ton happening on screen, which does happen a few times. I feel like it's a competent version. Especially if you're like me and, you know, you have a Switch 2, the Switch 1 version's not out yet, but you're waiting for that upgrade path to be available, then it'll be even better. But this is also a competent version if you only have a Switch. I think it's still worth checking out because it's very good. I'm trying to think of other mechanics here. There is kind of the Jetstream mechanic. I feel like it's based off Sonic Riders, where it was more apparent in that game, but if you put yourself, like Mario Kart World, if you put yourself behind another racer, like directly behind them, and you're like close enough, you'll actually start to speed up and catch up to them. I think that's kind of standard in a lot of kart racers now, but just something to point out. This game is very arcadey. I would argue this is more arcadey and less skill-based than something like a Mario Kart. But from what I've seen, at least online, like people talking and comparing, because it's kind of hard to avoid that comparison. You know, they're both out in 2025. Come on, that was a great CrossWorld. Oh, this is another original CrossWorld too. From what I've seen online, like, there are a lot of people who prefer this more classic approach to kart racing, because yeah, you have the rival system, you have the transforming vehicles, but this is definitely more along the lines of a classic karting experience than compared to what Mario Kart World is doing, which isn't bad by any means. It's just something completely different. You know, Mario Kart is trying something new for the first time in a while, And so, which is good to see, but, you know, if you're not a fan of that, you know, honestly, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds might pick up some slack for you there. You know, both of these games can coexist. They are quite different enough while still having, you know, the core, you know, kart racer experience. It's like there are still plenty of differences that do, I think, make them stand out from each other. But, I mean, if you're a Sonic fan, like, this is a no-brainer, in my opinion. There's a lot of Sonic representation. Like, if you were bummed out by how Team Sonic... That was bad. If you were bummed out by how Team Sonic Racing had like such little like Sonic representation, this game vastly improves on it. The track selection, the music, the character selection, there are just like way more from all different sides of the series. Except honestly, biggest critique about that in this game, not a lot of classic Sonic representation. And I think I would have liked to see like something like a Sky Sanctuary from All-Stars Racing Transformed return. I don't know, have like Mighty and Ray or Trip from Sonic Superstars playable. Like, I feel like there's not a ton of classic Sonic representation, which is honestly kind of uncharacteristic of SEGA, but I also think it's because this is very much a modern Sonic-focused game. If you're a modern Sonic fan, oops, sorry about that, almost every game is covered, which is crazy. They really do a lot here to kind of focus in on that. And the core gameplay itself is very, very fun. It really, really is, and I really enjoy that a lot about it. I think I'm going to jump out of here for now and go back to the main menu here because, yeah, it's fine. I don't need to save. I just wanted to show off a couple tracks there. And then you slowly unlock new gadgets over time the more you play, which is cool. I can talk a little bit about the online before I switch over to the spoiler section because the online is pretty solid. Connectivity's not great. Like, I know people complain about Mario Kart. The connectivity in this game is not great. It's actually, today, as of this recording, I had a lot of network issues just trying to play the festival. I don't know if that's because it is cross-platform across all platforms, you know, not just on the Switch, which is awesome. You know, you can do cross-play across every system. But there are definitely some network connectivity issues, unfortunately. There were multiple times where I started a race online, and then it ended, like, 10 seconds in, which was really annoying. You know, so that's bound to happen. Just keep that in mind. But the modes that are here are great. They have, like, so let me actually jump into the online lobby quickly to showcase, because you have, like, your regular races normally that you would do. But, you know, you can also meet up with friends and do that, but you also have these festivals that happen. These are seemingly going to be when they drop new characters, whether that's paid or the free ones. Right now, they have the Hatsune Miku one going on. The way it works is you kind of break up into teams, and you have... It's kind of similar to the Race Park single-player mode, or offline mode, I should say. It's kind of similar to that, actually, and you essentially have, like, different team-based objectives, like bump into your team the most to win, and then you get like a boost. You fill up a boost meter the more you bump into your teammates, and then you kind of like Team Sonic Racing actually was very similar to that. They had some mechanics like that they brought back here. There's also one that's like collect more rings as a team or do more air tricks as a team. So it's a lot of team-based mechanics, and they seemingly they're going to be tied to, at the very least, the free characters, which I don't know if you've seen the roadmap, but there's a lot of free, supposedly Sega-centric characters that will be coming. We know of a few others already. I will not spoil those here. But, you know, there's also a paid season pass, essentially, that adds a bunch of characters like Minecraft. It comes with characters and tracks and cosmetics and stuff. So Minecraft characters, we have SpongeBob and Patrick coming up, among others. So definitely look out for those within the next year. They're kind of spread out. There's a bunch of them coming out within the next couple months as of this upload, so which is good. Front load the content now. You know, keep people coming back soon, and then they'll just keep playing, because honestly, the core gameplay here is really, really good. I don't honestly have many complaints. It's a really fun game that I've been jumping back in here and there. I've done a lot of the Grand Prix. I've unlocked all the Grand Prix. I've done all those cups there. There is a reward for beating all of the rivals. As I mentioned, the rival system, if you beat a rival, it kind of checks them off. And there's like over 20 rivals to beat, so if you beat them all, you get like a fun little reward. There's also these like optional like extra objectives you can do that nab you rewards, like the Donpa tickets I mentioned earlier. The friendships thing is what I was talking about before, where you feed them tickets. And they have a jukebox where you can go in and like choose other previous Sonic songs to like put over the tracks, which I always love that. Overall, this is a fantastic package. This to me is the definitive Sonic racing game. Is it the best? Depends on how you look at it, right? I think this blows Team Sonic Racing out of the water. And I would honestly say this is better than the original Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. It really comes down to... Sonic Riders is so different, I'm not even going to compare that. It really comes down to this and Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. This is most similar to Transformed. Transformed, though, was more of a SEGA overarching focus here, which they're slowly adding more SEGA characters. I do think this is going to end up being the definitive Sonic racing game, though, if it hasn't already. A lot of people are playing it. It's great to see. It's across all platforms. And there's a lot of vehicle customization with the plates and the customizable vehicle parts that do affect your stats like speed, acceleration, handling, etc. Lots of Sonic representation, a lot of different tracks, and a lot that are specific to CrossWorlds, which is cool. That whole CrossWorld mechanic itself is really fun. The rival system's a really fun way. Honestly, I think that specifically adds a lot of good single-player content. There's no, like, story mode, you know, if you're into that. There's no free roam like in Mario Kart World. It's really just Grand Prix focus. It's more arcadey focus, which I think works for this game. You know, if you prefer something other than that, unfortunately, you're not going to find that here. I mean, the race park kinda, but then again, if you just like the classic Grand Prix or online experience, I think this game is great. You know, keep in mind there might be some online connectivity issues. I am playing the Switch 1 version, so that also could be a big factor in it, to be honest. If you're playing on PC or PS5, Xbox, you might be fine. Yeah, overall, really, really, really like what this game has to offer. There's a lot on offer, and they have a whole at least year of content planned, free and paid, coming out. So it's honestly, this feels like SEGA was super confident in this game. I know it's not Sumo Digital, but SEGA was super confident in this game, and it shows, and it pays off in my opinion. This is a really, really good racing game. That I think, you know, you don't really need to going back to Mario Kart World, you don't really need to choose one over the other. I think this game stands out in its own way. You know, Mario Kart World has its own identity. It's going for that open, connected world. This is more focused on the classic arcadey experience, and it really depends what you prefer, of course. But if you just like any kart racer, like, why not both? Like, this stands out in its own right, and I think it actually handles it really well, and is clearly has a bright future ahead of it. So that's going to do it for the Like to Know spoiler section. The spoiler section shouldn't be long, but I just want to touch on a few things quickly here. So definitely, if you don't want to be, you know, spoiled on like the character roster, unlockables, all the tracks and everything, definitely click away. I'll give you a few seconds to do that right now. All right, let's talk about stuff. So in terms of the character roster, some of these DLC ones are crazy. I'm mostly excited for Pac-Man and Mega Man next year. Those are going to be exciting. But like to have Minecraft and SpongeBob, like, they're clearly targeting the kid demographic, and you know what? They're smart to do so. I did pre-order this, so I got the Werehog, and then I ended up buying the character skins as part of the season pass. I did buy it. And Hatsune Miku's our first guest character, and she's great. We love her. We got Joker and Ichiban coming soon. Another character that has not officially been confirmed by SEGA, so I won't even mention that here. But yeah, great roster overall. We have the entire Chaotix team. We have 2 Deadly Six. Say what you will, there are fans of the Deadly Six. Sage from Frontiers is a great pick. All 3 Babylon Rogues. Honestly, I would have assumed originally just Jet, but they have all 3 here, which is awesome. Eggpon, like, sure. Eggpon didn't need to be here. That's okay. Silver Blaze, Big, Cream, of course the squad. Team Dark's here. Metal Sonic. Like, it's a really good selection of characters. Like, I don't know how you could improve this selection of characters, to be completely honest with you. Unless you wanted to get into, like, the IDW or Archie comic side of things, which they could do. Who knows? Like, drop in Tangle. Not Archie, but they could do, like, Tangle and Whisper, you know? That'd be cool. They have some options there, I suppose, if they wanted to do that. But, yeah, really, really do like this game a lot. Great characters. I'm going to go over the track list here, because I want to talk about that as well. Because there's a lot of good racing tracks here. Lots of great choices that they made. My favorites, I mean, Sand Road, the music might be one of my favorites. I love Metal Harbor. I love that they brought that back. That is awesome. Mystic Jungle's really good. Apatos, of course. But, like, even some of the original tracks, the Colorful Mall is really good. Wonder Museum's very good, like I mentioned earlier. Rainbow Garden. Pumpkin Mansion is fun. Coral Town is great. I'm still not convinced that wasn't based off of the Coral stage in Sonic Rush Adventure. Like, I do believe that was at least partially inspired by. Get the Market Street. Radical Highway is great. Chow Park's fun. Aqua Forest is actually one of my most favorite originals. There's a lot of good shortcuts on that. Eggman Expo is great. And then, of course, having the 3 Chronos, North Star, and White Space. Those are all great tracks, honestly. Really, really good. And I'm excited for when the crossover courses come within the next year. Kind of spread out a lot, which is unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Yeah, I've beaten the Grand Prix on one of the difficulties. I have not unlocked Supersonic. You know, I have not unlocked him, so gonna try that eventually. Oh, see that one, the Chow one, I did retry, and so they tell you. They're like, haha, you retried, you think you're so good. Oh, what's up, Silver? But yeah, if I go, let me see. Yeah, I know. Thank you, though. I know I just unlocked more earlier. Thank you. I've beaten 10 of them, though, so I'm getting pretty close. But I think this is a cool, attainable thing to having Supersonic unlockable. I know you could argue, oh, you should unlock him if you beat, like, the highest difficulty of Grand Prix. You know, kind of like Sonic Riders had a similar thing where you had to get, like, what, gold on every single mission in that game to get Supersonic. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, people really want to play Supersonic. I think this is a much more attainable goal, and so I appreciate them doing that. But I really do love the rival system, honestly. I think that is a really fun mechanic. It doesn't really change up anything too much strategically, but it's like a fun little like thing that actually leads to some of those unique cutscenes, like that banter. It's just a fun little thing that doesn't change a lot of the gameplay like the CrossWorld does, but it's really, really fun, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Just really great game. And like, here's the thing. You could easily compare this to Mario Kart, right? But I think this game, the fact that it has a lot of the customizability that people maybe missed from Mario Kart World, as well as like the more arcadey nature, like the more traditional Grand Prix, like this might be more of your cup of tea, you know? And this is also a game that we know is going to be supported for a long time, whereas at the moment Nintendo hasn't done a ton with Mario Kart World. I figured they would have kept updating more and more, but it seems like Sonic Racing is going to be the one to kind of do that. And Mario Kart World still could totally do it, and I think they will eventually. It's a matter of when, you know? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, just to wrap up this video, this is a great game. I was excited from this game from the get-go, but seeing it in action, playing it, I played the open network test, the demo, and now the full thing, and it's great to see. SEGA was clearly very confident for a good reason in this game, and it's because this game is it's a great amalgamation of all the previous Sonic Racing games with the best Sonic representation that, honestly, like, I think any game, including like Sonic Generations, has had. Like, there's references to all sorts of games you would never expect here, and it's great to see SEGA acknowledge a lot of their past history in what feels like a massive celebration of Sonic. It really genuinely does. But also, you know, with the additional SEGA characters coming in, with the additional non-SEGA Season Pass characters coming in, there's going to be so much content for this game over the next year, and I have a feeling it will keep this game relevant into the next year. And, you know, maybe if it does well enough, they do another Season Pass. I don't know. But, like, it's really great to see them make this game that really, it feels so refined. And, like, you know, Izuka-san over at SEGA talked about going back to the previous games, like especially All-Stars Racing Transformed, bringing those mechanics back, bringing back things people loved about the previous games, and putting them all in here and making a really solid, fun package with new features, too. Like, the CrossWorld feature is really fun. The rival system is really good. It's like there's a lot of minute things in this game that I think really make it a fun and honestly addicting experience. I see myself going back to this a lot, especially for those festivals, but even just like slowly over time, finishing all the Grand Prix, doing all the unlockables, that kind of stuff. So it's a really fun game. If you haven't picked it up already and you're a fan of kart racers, I think honestly this is probably a must play. Even if you're not a Sonic fan, it's like, I think this is it feels really good to play, even on the Switch 1, which is the version I'm playing. Although it will be coming to Switch 2 in the near future, so keep an eye out for that if you're waiting. But anyways, everybody, that's going to do it for this review of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. No, it's a little long. Apologies for that, but thank you so much for watching if you did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about this game? Have you played a lot of it? Please keep it non-spoilers, like no specific character mentions or track mentions if we can, just so people don't get spoiled if they're trying to hide on that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next video or live stream. And until then, keep on racing. I'll see you out there.